Hey guys, how's it going?
Are we live?
I think we're live, Craig.
Hello.
We are reporting live from the 2017 LA Auto Show, and we are in one of the show's most significant debuts.
Oh, come on, Jody. It's the most significant.
That's very true.
Let's not kid ourselves.
And in case you haven't guessed it already, it is the all-new Jeep Wrangler.
Sweet.
So let's get out of here and tell them a bit about it.
Very awkward. Well, here it is, bright yellow, and if you didn't notice, it's got a folding top. What do you think of that?
It's very Jeep-like.
It's pretty neat.
So just as a little bit of an aside, we're watching on Facebook, so if you have any questions, let us know and we'll try to answer them. If you're watching this on YouTube, we obviously can't answer your questions, but leave them in the comments and we'll see if we can come back and answer them later. But we love answering your questions, so hit us up.
Yeah. So obviously you can get this as a hard top. There are several other roof options available as well, including, I forget what this one is called, but it looks pretty sweet. Big news though, aluminum body panels, cutting a little bit of weight off the Wrangler, of course. You got a hood, doors, fenders, hinges, the lift gate, or pardon me, the swing gate at the back is magnesium. So some welcome changes.
So this is actually the Rubicon version that we're looking right now, which is the super hardcore off-road version. But being a Jeep, all Wranglers can go off-road. Interestingly enough,
we have a question in the comments.
Oh, sure.
Raul's asking how easy are the doors to remove. Well, unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to do that.
We haven't had a chance to do it, but I was talking to Ralph Gilles today. He designed the car, and he was basically saying that everything is easier to live with the Jeep, meaning the doors are easier to take off, the roof is easier to take off. This is a crazy Mopar edition, actually, which is super cool.
And one more thing about the doors, Ben, if we can swing around to the passenger side. You know, when you remove them, you need a little bit of hardware because you got to pull the hinge pins. But very cleverly, if you look on the hinge itself, you can see a number, and that's the Torx bit size that you need to pull the hinge pin.
Cool.
So if you're not going to forget what it is anymore. That's pretty clever.
That is pretty clever.
Bunch of Easter eggs in there.
So interestingly, I was talking to Ralph Gilles. He designed the car again, and I was trying to get him to tell me what all the Easter eggs were, and he wouldn't tell me. He said we have to find them and discover them on our own. But he did mention something interesting, is that one of the most difficult things to engineer for designers and engineers together was the reverse camera. And so this is the first time the Jeep Wrangler has ever come with the reverse camera. And it's right here. The solution was that they mounted it. This comes off or flips up, and then the spare tire comes off. So that was a really weird engineering solution.
Yeah, where do you put it, right?
Well, yeah, because you can't put it under here because it's too low. They also tried putting a camera on each side, and then they were going to try to digitally stitch the images together, and that didn't work either. So this was a pretty interesting solution.
So he designed the Wrangler?
Yeah.
I'm not a Jeep-ophile myself, but I can't tell it apart from the previous model.
And so that's what he said. Like, to anyone just looking at it, it looks the same, but it's all in the little details. The little details are all different, and like I said, it's just much easier to live with than it used to be.
I did see one cool thing. Jody, if you've got a free hand, can you pop the back there?
Are we allowed to open it?
I think we can. We did yesterday.
Why don't we open that one?
Okay.
Yeah,
go back to the yellow one then.
That one was behind the fence, yeah.
Just pop that open there. And there's a little Jeep JL placard there with just some interesting information.
That's a nice,
they went through the time to do that. It's a cool touch.
The Jeep has a lot of cool little details. I can't wait to explore it some more.
So what else? Powertrain, big news.
Big news, they're coming out with a hybrid. A plug-in hybrid model is coming in 2020, and that's the first time a Jeep has ever been hybridized. There's also a diesel model coming.
Yep.
And
3-liter V6 Eco Diesel.
Yep. So maybe tell them about the engine that it'll launch with.
Yeah, you're going to have the 3.6-liter Pentastar V6, 285 horsepower, but also there's going to be a 2-liter turbo with about 270 horses, which, you know, I'm assuming they're going to tune that for low-end torque, which you want off-road, so it should perform pretty well. Also, that diesel, get this, 262 horses, 442 pound-feet of torque. You can get an 8-speed automatic pretty much across the board, but if you do get the V6, you can get a 6-speed manual, so that's pretty sweet.
The other thing that's really interesting is that we have a question, and it's whether or not it has electronic or manual locking diff. So Ben, if you come over here, I'll show you that it still has a manual locking diff, which is super cool. I think this might be one of the only, maybe a handful of cars on the market that still have a manual locking diff.
2-speed transfer case and 2 different 4-wheel drive systems. So obviously it's still a Wrangler despite having aluminum bodies, despite having all new powertrains. Well,
I think they did I think they did a really good job in modernizing the Jeep, but also not doing too much to piss off current Jeep owners and kind of alienate them, which is always a big
they're
fear.
a prickly bunch, right?
Very much
They don't
so.
want their Wrangler touched.
Yeah, very much so.
But we got about a bunch of other vehicles we're going to get to.
Yeah, let's keep going. Let's
What's
go over
next,
to the
Jodi?
Lincoln booth, which is that
Lincoln.
way.
Because they're making some interesting news at the show here.
Yeah, which is interesting because Lincoln is, they've kind of been a bit of a sleepy brand lately. Although they've been making some big moves, and I really like the kind of direction that they're going in.
They have an identity finally, right?
Finally, right?
Yeah.
So let's go see some the new Lincoln that came out at the LA Auto Show.
Was it 2 Lincolns that came out, I guess?
Yeah, one was debuted a couple days earlier before the show.
Okay.
But the big news was the new Lincoln Nautilus.
Nautilus.
Which is cool because that means they're coming back to real names instead of like
I'm so excited about that.
MKX. I don't even know the difference to this day, and I work in the
Navigator.
industry. Yeah, so so let's check them out
what,
here.
Is this the MKC here,
So
which
this
is
is
a
the
smaller
MKC,
one?
which is a refresh. It gets a new grille and all that. But the biggest news here is the Nautilus.
Look it.
And
Do your
it-
Vanna White. Do your hand,
and it-
hand model. Ben, we got to get this. This is
And
too important.
it's cool because it's a real name. So what is a Nautilus? It's a sea mollusk. No,
It's the Barnacle edition.
it's actually a very popular name for a boat,
Okay.
which Lincoln has a very nautical theme, so it makes a lot of sense for that.
Navigator. You'd
Yeah.
have that on a ship as well.
Exactly.
Let's see if is this a black label model?
It usually says on the
It does
side,
not
so I
look
don't
like
think
black
it
label.
is.
But still, the interior on these. This is again an updated version of the MKX crossover, which I happen to like quite a bit. It's very quiet, very smooth, very comfortable, and a number of improvements they've made to it. You can get a 2-liter base engine with 245 horsepower, or the one you're going to want is the 2.7 twin-turbo V6 with how many horsepower, Jodi?
It has, the V6 has 355
Crazy.
horsepowers but yeah, it gets all the tech you could ever want, lots of luxury, 22-way adjustable seats. I think Lincoln is the only automaker in the entire industry that has a driver's seat that moves that many ways.
Well, in the Conti it goes 30 ways. You
Really?
can get optional. Yeah, it's insane.
30 ways.
Because the bolsters on the bottom are independently adjustable. It's crazy.
That's
it's crazy.
awesome.
But what else is there? I mean, the big news is the name, really.
Yeah, and
So-
I like that they're returning to real names. I'm kind of tired of alphanumeric stuff.
Well, they're standing out by doing that too, because
I think
everybody
so.
else in the luxury space
Yeah.
is like alphanumeric.
Exactly.
So, it's a nice way for them to stand out.
We got a request to see the Stinger GT, which we could do later, but let's go to Nissan,
They're next
which
door
is
over
right
here.
there.
Oh, Juan and says hello from Puerto Rico. Hi, Juan. How are
Juan.
you? Welcome to Los Angeles, sort of.
Yeah, well, close enough. So, Ben, it's actually right here. This is the Nissan Kicks, and this is an all-new model for North America. Up until now, it's been sold in other markets around the world, like Brazil. I think it's sold in Europe as well. Some of Latin America.
What size is this vehicle? It's pretty small.
Star Wars. I'm sure a lot of you are excited.
Oh, sorry, it's this one. Oh my God.
Coming to theaters.
That's the Rogue Sport, right?
Whoops.
So anyway, this is the
Kicks.
Kicks. Oopsies.
Rewind.
And so this is actually supposed to compete with cars like the Honda HR-V and the Mazda CX-3. And
It's a smaller
it's a
crossover
subcompact
size.
crossover.
Exactly.
And the rumor was that this would replace the Juke, but I've been told that they will actually be produced together and they'll still be sold together. So that's pretty cool.
Probably for the time being, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens in
We'll
a year
see what
or two.
happens. Yeah, I mean the Juke hasn't been refreshed in a while. It's getting kind of old. People don't really like it. I like the Juke, but a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah, that's.
So
The 1.6 liter naturally aspirated engine, I think, is the only one they're going to offer, right?
yeah,
Pretty.
and it's only front wheel drive, which is a bit of a letdown.
That's interesting. You think in a crossover you would want the option of all-wheel drive,
Yeah.
but maybe at the price point they're just not justifying.
Yeah, I think at that point you can also go to the Rogue Sport if you wanted all-wheel drive. But
Yeah,
that's
but only 125 horsepower.
yeah, it's not too much. It does
Oh,
have
well.
a CVT.
So yeah, the Kicks. It's the face of it. I don't mind.
I like it. I really
looks
like
kinda
the
cute, I guess
the
you could
floating
say.
the floating roof line is really
Oh, yeah.
nice.
2016 Leaf has been or 2018 Leaf, sorry.
Steve Elmer is asking, is the Star Wars Nissan Titan actually cool or just lame?
Well, why don't we take a look? There's someone practicing. Yeah, it's just on that
Not much
stage.
about it, but it looks pretty sweet actually.
Driving range, which is whatever.
Look at that.
So the whole deal with this is that the new Star Wars movie is coming
Oh,
out in
yes.
December, and so they're continuing their partnership with Star Wars to create kind of like weird Star Wars inspired
Their whole
concepts.
they've got X-wings hanging from the ceiling
Yeah.
here, and a TIE fighter inspired. Is it a Maxima? Yeah.
It's funny that they also chose bad guys to use.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right, let's go to.
What is next? We gotta jump to the next hall.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
we got
well,
like
why don't we
a
stop
2-hour
at?
walk now.
Well,
but-
why don't we stop at the Kia Stinger because somebody
Yeah.
wanted to see that. Ben,
Oh,
you
I'll
want to
s-
just come over here and look at the Kia Stinger for a sec after this?
That's the TIE fighter Maxima. I wonder if that'll be a trim level.
If it comes with the guns, I
Or
think people will
want,
buy
like,
it.
I want a Wookiee hair headliner woven.
That would be so luxurious, but PETA would be pissed.
They would.
PETA would not be happy about the Wookiees that had to die to make that headliner.
Maybe they just shear them like sheep. Maybe it's.
All right, so this over here is the Kia Stinger. This is probably one of the most highly anticipated cars of the year. I've been lucky enough to drive it multiple times, and it's really impressive. And it's not just impressive because it's a Kia, it's impressive in the whole marketplace.
As a car, yeah.
And I think that's a really important distinction to make.
It is very beautiful.
They did a really good job designing it. The only thing that really I don't like is the fake hood vents. That drives me nuts. But the rest of it is really, really put together.
They're pretty convincing, though. I didn't know they were fake. What would you have, red pill or blue?
That's actually not a stock color.
Okay.
That's the West Coast Custom Stinger that they brought out to SEMA. Yeah, so they've gone and souped it up a little, put a body kit on
Yeah,
it.
it is pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Look at the wheels.
It's a wide body version.
Yeah.
All right, let's walk over to
What do you
the
wanna see
other
next?
hall.
All right, well, we
gotta
probably
go
have
to
to
the
go
other
that
hall.
way. I think out and
Okay,
across.
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments as we're ambulating here, post them up in the Facebook chat. And
Seeing
as
if we have any
always,
questions.
we'll do our best to answer them. So we're gonna have like a 5-minute walk. So
Yeah,
be
sorry, the
warned.
halls are a little bit far away, but luckily we only have to do
Yeah,
this once.
Exactly.
And
All the other
hopefully-
brands are in the other.
Yeah, but maybe we'll see some cool stuff on the way.
Here's that Bollinger thing, right?
Oh yeah, so this is interesting. This Bollinger B1 is an all-electric, like modular SUV. It's built for off-roading. It does this really interesting thing where you could, this part here opens up and you can put something the entire length of the car, all the way to the back. Like there's a big tunnel in it, which is super cool.
Sweet. I bet it's pretty affordable since they didn't spend any money on design.
I like it though.
I do too. Yeah,
I think it's kind of neat. Like I
refreshingly
like all
simple.
these like little rivets in it. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is the only one in existence right now. It's
Don't
like
touch
the
it,
one
Jodi.
of
Keep
one.
your filthy hands off it.
I know.
I saw you tapping the door.
Let's keep going.
All right. This is where we cue like the Benny Hill music.
Yeah.
We got a long walk. But what else can we? What's the vibe at this year's show, Jodi?
You know what? Every
your
auto
take?
show, I'm always looking forward to like a drop dead reveal where it kind of like catches everyone by surprise. This year we didn't really have any of that. Like we kind of knew everything that was coming. There were no real surprises. Like even the Jeep, which is the biggest reveal of the show,
Yeah.
it debuted, you know, a couple weeks ago, so we've seen it already. There were a whole bunch of leaks online for photos and
I think
specs.
the whole owner's manual came out as a
Yeah.
PDF, didn't it?
So there weren't really that many surprises, but it was
Wonder
still
who
cool to
leaked
get
that.
up close and personal and kind of check it out that way.
But it's a quiet show.
It is surprisingly quiet. I thought being the last one of the year, the automakers would go really crazy and kind of, you know, want to leave a lasting impression, go out with a bang and whatnot. But it was a little bit bit quiet.
Like we normally, when you go to shoot video around a vehicle, all day long people are in the way. They're clamoring over each other to get access to the car. And Ben and I shot at the Toyota booth this morning, and there was practically nobody there. It was actually awesome. But
Yeah, it's good for us.
The vibe is pretty dead.
So let's see, we've got some electric bicycles over here.
You want to go for a ride, Jodi?
How do you,
Take
Craig,
one for a spin.
you speak German. How do you say this?
I do not speak German, but it should be. I think the other one was umlaut, and I actually looked it up because I
Schokol.
don't know what it is. It's the Iron Circle.
What's a circle?
Apparently, it's a mountain in Austria, according to Wikipedia, at least.
The Iron Mountain. So they're doing demonstrations.
yeah. That you could. They take the G-Wagon up the big. You probably can't see it, but way off in the distance. Ben, zoom that up. Pinch to zoom now. Come on.
Zoomed as it gets.
That's okay. They're not doing it right now, so we can keep going.
Yeah. We've got a long way to go still. We're only halfway to the other hall.
Somebody made a joke that Iron Shuckle sounds like a really kinky something or other.
You on the Iron Circle? Yeah. All right. What's next on the list? What's a preview of what we're going to be talking about?
So we've got the refreshed Mazda 6.
Yes.
Mazda 6.
Mazda.
For my American friends out there. Let's see. We've got the Subaru Ascent coming up, which is the biggest Subaru ever.
Ever?
They've never had a Subaru this big before.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I can send you
Let's see what else we got coming.
Oh, there's a Mercedes we're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah, the
We got,
CLS.
a Chevy, the Corvette ZR1 convertible.
Yep, we actually got a request to drop by that, so we'll do that later.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about the Wrangler. They must not have seen the beginning.
Yeah, if you rewind to the beginning of the video, we spend actually quite a bit of time with the Wrangler, and we're already like 10 minutes away from
I know it.
the booth, so.
We're super far. Oh, thanks, Jones. Experience the Iron Circle. Circle. All right, here we go. We're almost there. Next is
that was a good walk.
Mazda.
Need your inhaler?
I need my inhaler.
So Ray said maybe they're
over here.
saving some good debuts for Detroit and New York, which might be true. Detroit will be a really big show. They've got a ton of really interesting stuff coming in Detroit. It's Craig's hometown.
Oh yeah. Okay, Mazda's off to
Mazda's
the right
this
here.
way. So let's just walk through Hyundai.
They had the Kona was shown off yesterday, I believe.
This
but
was the North American debut of the
Yeah.
new Hyundai Kona, which is also a Honda HR-V competitor.
I drove it already, Jodi.
For 5 minutes.
For literally 5 minutes
in South Korea. That's the good Korea.
That's exactly.
Okay, so
All right,
here
here
we
it
go. This is the refreshed Mazda 6.
Mazda.
The Mazda 6 has always been like one of my favorite family sedans because it is clearly like the prettiest one available right now in its class. And you know, this one makes it even better.
Yeah, they've stiffened the structure, they've completely retuned the suspension, they've directly mounted the steering rack right to the structure, so the steering itself is going to feel even better than it did before. Reduced interior noise, more refinement.
The interior
They've
is
done
also
a
a lot
lot.
more upscale than it used to be.
You can get a signature trim now, which is sort of like their
Yeah.
ultra premium.
And,
Interestingly, only the steering wheel and a couple small parts carry over. The rest is new.
The rest is new, and
Infotainment system, you got a new in-dash display for the gauges.
interestingly enough, this is the first Mazda to ever use Alcantara on the inside.
Okay.
So, you know, that's something you see in BMWs and stuff, so it's kind of cool that they brought it here.
And now that you mention it, it's also the first Mazda with ventilated seats, believe it or not. They have
very
not had
cool.
that yet.
Very cool.
So when you're out zooming, you can keep your cool.
So luckily it will still come with a 6-speed manual.
But only with the base engine.
Only with the base engine, which is a shame. And that's the other big news, is that now it gets a turbocharged Skyactiv engine, which is really cool.
This little ditty right here. Check that out. 2.5 liter turbo, 310 pound-feet of torque.
That's a lot for
That's a lot
something
of
like
torques.
this. Yeah.
And according to the Mazda PR guy I was talking to yesterday, 0 torque steer. But we shall see, because that's a lot of twist to put up front.
Yeah, but I feel like Mazda's usually pretty good at kind of
Yeah.
honing in on the driving dynamics, so I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't exaggerating a little bit.
So also you get up to 250 horsepower if you put 93 octane in the tank. If you cheap out with regular, it drops to 227. Also the base 2.5 4-cylinder engine, that's received some attention. They've reduced the internal friction. They've actually added cylinder deactivation, so the outboard 2 cylinders will shut off at, you know, cruising speeds between about 25 and 50 miles an hour. So obviously that's going to help your fuel economy quite a bit. And output for that engine should be around 187 horsepower. So still, like, you know, plenty. But if you want more, you can get the turbo.
Yeah, so I don't actually think we can show you the interior right now because they're not letting anyone on this platform. But
What can we show them?
Let's go over to Subaru.
RF, Jodi, right there.
Oh, I love the RF.
Jodi's favorite.
I was almost going to buy one. Did you know that?
No,
Yeah.
I knew you were almost going to buy another car.
Yeah, I almost bought an Audi S3 as well.
Why did you back off the Mazda?
Look who it is. It's Rod.
Hey.
We're doing a live broadcast right now. We joked
way,
about
are you
it.
serious?
Yeah, it's right there. So Rod works at Mazda.
Are you live right now?
Yeah, yeah.
We are live.
And so we put Rod on the spot. Like you might remember, probably was a year
Monterey,
ago. Maybe 2 years ago we did it.
Yeah, right when the RF was first introduced.
Yeah, and we put him on the spot. It was the first time you ever did a live broadcast.
I think first time you ever did a live one as well.
The second time. Right?
Nice,
Yeah, and
nice.
so we were trying to open the hood and we were live, and then we couldn't
Yeah.
find the little latch to undo it, and it was.
Best moments, yes. Bloopers, Mazda bloopers.
Well, what can you tell us about the Mazda 6?
The Mazda 6, really? I can tell you all kinds of stuff.
Do we have that much time, Jodi? I'm just kidding.
You got 30 seconds, go.
30 seconds. All right, so the big news is the turbo engine. So 2.5 liter Skyactiv turbo with 227 horsepower, 310 foot-pounds of torque, and the interior completely redesigned. So basically, aside from the steering wheel and the switches, almost everything's redesigned. Instrument panel, door panels, the seats redesigned, so there's a more natural curvature of the spine. The seats are now on the signature, ventilated. Instead of blowing cold air at you, they actually whisk away the air, the moist air. So really a fun and exciting update from the previous model, but you got to see the interior. Seriously, it's something you got to check out.
Absolutely. Can you give us any indication at all on pricing?
I can't yet, and it's not that I'm keeping secrets. It's we are still in the process of.
secrets.
Well, yeah, well, no, but we're in the process of still, getting all that approved. So.
Cool. I look
we'll
forward
work
to
towards
driving it. I'm really excited.
Hey, 310 foot-pounds of torque. That's that should be fun. So,
Awesome. Thank
appreciate
you
it.
so much,
Yeah,
Rod.
thanks, guys.
It was good bumping into you.
Take care.
See you guys.
See ya.
All right, we're going to Toyota next.
No, we're going to Subaru.
Oh, that's right. I am looking at the Toyota booth, and I thought they were next, but
So we got a question, and it's what does Skyactiv mean? And so it doesn't mean one thing, it's more of a philosophy, and it just means that they're trying new ways to be more efficient and also not sacrifice performance. So it doesn't mean one thing, it's more of a concept. So we're gonna go to the Subaru booth, and we're checking out
share the
new-
love, Jodi. Share
Huh?
the love. That's what it says.
Oh yeah, I like sharing the love. So this is the new Subaru Ascent. And it's the first 3-row SUV from Subaru. Well, no, it's not the first one. They've had one before, but this is the biggest Subaru they've ever had. 3 rows of seats, up to 8 people can fit in here.
This is the biggest Subaru ever, I understand.
I
Right?
just said that, Craig. Were
How
you
big
not
is
listening
it?
to
Of course
me?
not. I was talking to Jake Holmes from
Oh,
Motor
hello.
One.
Hello,
How are you,
colleagues.
Jake?
Very well. How are you, Craig?
Well,
So
I'm doing great.
One
We're
of
doing
the standout features
we're
of the
talking over each
Ascent
other now.
is that
Goodbye.
it has 19 cup holders. And I don't know why you would need 19 cup holders.
Also 19 cup holders.
I have to work with this like all the time.
Be thankful I work remotely, right?
So what else does it have? It's going to have standard eyesight, which is their safety and driver assistance package. So it'll come with stuff like automatic or adaptive cruise control, like lane keep assist, stuff like that.
The,
All
the
is
normal
standard.
stuff, the stuff you can take and copy paste from like anything you've written and apply it to any new car these days,
Yeah.
because like everything's getting that.
All
stuff.
the tech is pretty much a given
Whether
these
it's
days.
Acura Watch or Toyota TSS, right?
Yeah. So of course it's a very family-friendly ride. You know, 8 USB ports so everybody can charge their phone and their tablet and whatnot. It's got Wi-Fi capability. So it gets 4G LTE, and you can hook up a whole bunch of devices, so it can act like a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Did you mention the engine yet, Jody?
Not yet.
Are you sure? I don't want to step over you again.
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 Why don't you tell them about it, Craig?
2.4 liter boxer turbo. And
Warning.
Hey guys, sorry.
that's 260 horsepower and, 277 torques. So yeah, it should move pretty well. And can tow up to 5,000 pounds. Also, a new record for Subaru. Mm-hmm. I know.
And they
I didn't
also
believe
have-
it myself.
Well, they also have a bunch of tech that makes towing easier and safer for drivers.
Okay.
They also have a new, I don't know if you mentioned this, maybe I'm going to repeat you now. They have a new lane centering technology
I
that
did
helps
not.
you stay centered in your lane while you're driving and towing, so that'll be really useful.
Very, very handy. Goes on sale early summer 2018.
Yep, and
Priced-
it'll be, base models will be around 30 grand.
But who buys that?
No, people are gonna want like the mid-range. The mid-range is always the one that sells the most.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we have 2 versions. This is a 7-seater, and then the 8 passengers, the white one up front.
Oh, great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maybe you want to demonstrate how the seats work.
If you hold my junk, my
I don't
phone
wanna
and
hold your junk.
phone and paperwork.
I'm gonna call HR. Oh my god. I'll do it.
I hope. Whatever. What's her name? I don't remember.
So the seats, so you can get captain's chairs or a 3-seat bench in the second row, and it tips and slides forward, so you have easy access into the third row. Yeah. I actually really like it in here. The third row obviously isn't
lock
going
her
to
in
be
there,
the most
please?
comfortable, but for emergency purposes, it'll do its job just fine.
Obviously, really good noise insulation too, because she couldn't hear you. What you were saying.
What were you saying?
Just can we lock you in there?
I should lock you in there. You told me to hold your junk.
There's an HR violation, folks. All right, now we're going to Toyota.
Sure, let's go to Toyota.
But we can cut through Volkswagen if you want. I don't know exactly if they had anything terribly exciting.
In which direction
Toyota's
is it?
this way.
Oh, okay.
Kind of behind Subaru. But if you want an Atlas, they got some. If you want a Beetle Dune, they got some. And yeah. This is the pirate version, the R line.
R.
Nautical
So
theme, just like Lincoln.
Volkswagen didn't have too much going on at this auto show. They came out with a Tiguan R line, which is just a bunch of cosmetic upgrades, so not really big news. They're obviously trying to push EVs and stuff, so they announced that I believe the ID EV will be a real car, and it's their little hatchback that's all electric. So over here, Ben, this is the FTAC, and it's kind of like an off-road concept, and it's got a lot of cool features built into it. And of course, this is aimed for like the millennial buyer. I feel like every car like this is aimed at a millennial buyer. So one of the really cool features that I love is this built-in bike rack.
Jody, did you tell them about the bike rack?
Getting so tired of you right now. And I'm hungry, so I'm hangry now.
Hangry, indeed.
So this is a really cool feature, and this actually makes a lot of sense to actually go to production.
Absolutely.
I don't know why anyone hasn't created something like this already, but it's an integrated bike rack that slides into the bumper when you don't need it.
When you're driving and not biking, you can.
Yeah, it's just so useful, right?
Yeah.
The other cool thing about this is that it has little cameras all over the place. So these cameras can actually come out, and you can use them like GoPros.
Yeah, and apparently they're infrared, which I would assume maybe you could use them at night. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and so I think they're mainly used for like A, the safety systems, but B, you can use them to record your off-roading adventures or whatnot.
And it has Wi-Fi, and supposedly you can stream those adventures to all of your followers
Of course.
on the socials.
Of course.
What else have we got? 20-inch wheels, a hybrid powertrain as well, but no real word yet on what it would be powered by.
No, and these things could be powered by anything, right? Because it's a concept, so
Oh,
they
yeah.
usually just make stuff up. You said
doesn't
something
matter.
really funny about mayonnaise
Battery
powered.
technology, yeah.
And in fact, somebody wants to know why it doesn't have any door handles.
Why no door? I didn't even notice that.
That's a good question.
Probably because it doesn't need to open.
It probably
and there's
doesn't
no-
actually have a real interior.
Yeah, it's such a deep tint. There's, I'm sure, nothing in there.
No, it's all covered up by like carpet. So they don't have door
Yeah.
handles because we're not allowed going inside because maybe they ran out of budget and couldn't design an interior. I don't know.
I think it is more in common with a Rubbermaid tub than an actual car. But yeah.
Okay, let's go over
But-
to the Chevy booth maybe. We had a couple requests to go over to Chevy.
Yeah. I was talking to Jack Hollis yesterday, and apparently it sounds like they're going to build this thing. It sounds like it's going to go into production.
No, it's not. They said that about the FT, that other one that came out, where was it? New York?
Yes.
The orange one. They said they were going to make that into a production car.
Well, we'll see, because I asked him
Jack
about
Hollis
that.
is who?
He's the Toyota division vice
Repeat my
president, I believe. So,
People can't hear me.
who is
Okay.
Jack Hollis? Well, he's an executive at Toyota, and I was interviewing him yesterday about the Toyota concept here, and he said it's most likely going to go into production. Of course, we'll see. Jodi is a skeptic.
I mean, it makes sense for
But-
it to go into production. It won't look like that when it makes production, but the more crossovers they can have, the better, right? That's
Yeah.
basically the lesson we've learned, is that everyone needs more crossovers, right?
Crossover crazy.
Yeah.
But he drew a parallel to the FJ Cruiser, which obviously did make it into production.
And they did that same comparison with that other concept that happened as well, and then people were so mad
Fool me
because
once, shame
right?
on you.
And they were just so mad because it was built on like a front wheel drive powertrain, and they said, oh, it's going to be an off-roader and whatnot.
Chevrolet is right over here, right?
Yeah, so
Jodi, you've driven the Bolt, right?
yeah, I've driven the Bolt before.
pretty fun, isn't it?
I actually like it. I was lucky enough to autocross it, funny enough. And it's actually really
An electric
good.
car on the autocross.
It's actually really good at the autocross.
All that torque
Yeah.
at zero.
Instant torque.
Torques.
And it has like a really low center of battery,
Yeah.
center of gravity, because its batteries are placed so low in the chassis.
Very nice.
It's actually quite cool.
I like the color. That gray is.
I just like that it looks like a regular car. Like
Yes.
it doesn't look like a
They don't
weird
have to be
EV.
crazy looking.
Yeah. Ben, let's go over here. That's not what we came here to see.
LS. Look at the LS, Jodi.
So we actually came here. This is one of Craig's favorite engines, obviously.
It's a good one, the 6.2.
But what we really came here to see are the new ZR1s. So they came out with the coupe version a couple days ago, and then the one that debuted at the LA show was the convertible version. And they're both up here on this platform. So these are basically the most powerful GM cars ever built.
And how many powers?
755 horsepower.
What?
Yeah, from an
Get out.
LT5 V8,
Get out.
which is nuts, right?
Why do you need that? I
And
mean, it's
so,
pretty sweet, don't get me wrong, but
Have they done a Nürburgring attempt yet?
it's a good question. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if they have, but I'm positive that a really impressive time is coming.
Look at that wing.
Yeah, so you can actually have it with two different wings. This is one of the options if you want like maximum downforce. The other one you can get is this one, which is also carbon fiber, but a little bit more restrained.
8-speed auto or 7-speed manual. Which one would Jodes get?
Manual,
I'm not
always
sure.
a manual. I just don't know how 755 horsepower would feel with a manual. Like, I don't think I've ever driven something like that.
I test drove a Hellcat and I was terrified to go past like 2/3 throttle on the street because like
it'll kill
instant
you.
death. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's Alex Beardsley. He's shooting us
hi!
as we're shooting him.
This is our cameraman, Alex Beard. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing a good job.
We have somebody asking about the Audi booth, if we have a chance to swing by there, and maybe in a little bit.
Yeah, we
after
can. We might have time later. So what else can we say about the ZR1? ZR1.
Where's the slot for the wings, it asked? Somebody asked?
Slot for the
Where
wing.
the slot for the wings?
I'm not sure. I mean, the bracketry is on the deck lid here.
Yeah, we'll do a little zoom in so you can see it's just bolted on.
Yeah.
But it is carbon fiber to help keep the weight low.
And to be fancy.
Of course,
I think
of
it's
course.
mostly to be fancy.
Um,
Old school vets are
yeah.
better.
I don't know what
Maybe.
else we can say about this other than it's like stupid fast. 0 to 60 in like under 3 seconds. Oh, interestingly enough, the convertible version is only 60 pounds heavier than the coupe, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, because I mean, when you cut the roof off of a car, inevitably the structure gets weaker because
Well,
the roof is a major component
yeah,
of that. So
that
you have to
too.
add a lot more bracing so they get heavier.
Yeah, but also all the mechanics you need to retract the top adds a lot of weight because it is power retractable, of course.
What is next on the list, though? I think BMW?
BMW, maybe?
They are
there's-
this way, I believe.
Okay.
Because we got Mini right
Yeah.
there, so they can't be far apart. As always, joined at the hip. All right.
Oh, this is the Hot Wheels Camaro, which is really funny. But let's keep going. We have so many things to see. He waited until there was a whole crowd of people watching him to do that. I
Well,
would've
there
just
are
loved it
66
if
people
your-
watching me right
if
now.
your feet caught the end of it and you just
I was-
face planted.
I was kind of hoping that would happen. We get a million views on the YouTube. All right, we're coming up to Mini. Mini. And there's
Mini-
BMW. I see it.
Mini didn't really have any debuts at this show. Whoop.
Oh, sorry.
Most of the stuff that Mini has here we saw when we were in Frankfurt.
But we got an i8 we got to talk about. They took a Sawzall to it, I understand.
Yeah, so this one's really special. It's over there. BMW at the LA Auto Show debuted the i8 Roadster. And it's basically a drop-top version of the coupe, obviously. But my favorite thing about the Roadster is that the doors, they open butterfly style, just like the coupe, which is super, super cool because that is so difficult to pull off. And I don't know if you can see it here, but you can see the bracing.
Tell them about the doors.
Will you shut up? You are just...
I'm gonna lose my job, folks.
The next walk around is just gonna be me and Ben.
It's just gonna be.
So like, this hydraulic brace is a really interesting innovation. But this is a really elaborate engineering solution because most convertible versions of cool coupes don't come with butterfly doors. Like Pagani couldn't do it. So I'm really impressed that BMW was able to pull that off.
And only 132 pounds of a weight penalty.
Which is not so bad. That's like one Craig.
Just about.
Yeah.
Half a Jodi, though.
So let's see. It's obviously a plug-in hybrid, just like the coupe.
Bigger battery pack, though.
Oh yeah, of course.
11.6 kilowatt hours versus 7.1. And that allows the car to, you can do about 105 kilometers an hour in EV mode, more than 60 mph. 0 to 60 can be yours in just 4.4 seconds, Jodi.
4.4.
What would you do with all the extra time you had if you could accelerate that fast?
Probably find myself a new Detroit bureau editor. else can we see here?
Well, we got to walk across.
Volvo,
What is our?
Infiniti, Acura.
We had Lexus because they had two
sure,
reveals in one.
Yeah, let's do that.
Of sorts, maybe. I don't know.
I think we got a request to go look at the M5.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
M3, M5.
Here we
there you
go.
Look at that color.
So this is the new M5, guys. For the first time ever, the M5 is all-wheel drive. But you can actually flip between rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive as you please, which is pretty cool. That means you can still drift it and do donuts and stuff like that.
Need to get the tape measure out and.
So this happens actually quite a lot at auto shows.
Fax.
It has a built-in fax machine. Yes, yes.
So I actually really like this color. That's really cool. This purple M4 is pretty neat.
Okay, agree to disagree.
I'm fancy, okay, whatever.
I know. Whatever.
Whatever.
Jones does what she wants.
All right, watch your head, Ben. But let's go to Lexus because they actually had some new debuts. So what did Lexus have? They had an all-new 3-row RX, which they call the RXL. You can
And
see a
here's half of
cutaway
it
of it
right
right
here.
here.
About 4.3 inches longer overall. Gets you the third row. The third row looks pretty cramped. I didn't actually climb back there,
They usually
but I
are.
think it's going to be kids only.
Yeah.
Just that sort of emergency extra couple seats for you. But
Yeah, but this is something Lexus buyers have been asking for a very long time because not everyone can afford to go up to like the GS,
oh my
right?
goodness, no. But
Let's see if we
yeah,
can
up to
see-
7 people can fit in there now. And
And of course, there's the LC 500, which is probably the most attractive car in its price range.
you tested the hybrid version.
I've
Did
actually
you get
driven
a lot of
both.
looks? You have?
Yeah,
okay.
I've driven both. Nothing I have driven before has gotten that much attention.
Really? Even that you were in a Lambo
Even a
over the summer?
Lamborghini. Yeah,
Wow.
people were trying to take photos of it and everything.
I mean, it's just wild looking.
Hey,
I don't blame
Chidi's
them.
here. Hey guys, this is Chidi. He's our features editor. So we're doing a live broadcast
Hey,
right
guys.
now. What was your favorite thing of the show?
Everything, I would say. It's really hard to pick the best of the bunch. But I think the Volvo XC40, I've been waiting for that for a year and a half, so...
Because you're gonna buy one, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy one, so I said it here, confirmed.
Now the internet's gonna hold you accountable if you don't buy it.
Exactly, so guys, yeah, hold me accountable. I just like that there were a lot of cars that you could sample here, a lot of different trim levels for the models, which is pretty good for an auto show, and just the general vibe, it was just really free. So yeah, having a blast
Cool.
here.
Awesome. Thanks,
Yeah.
Chidi. We'll see you
No
later.
problem. See you guys.
See ya. Take care. So we got a question. Any updates about Charger?
Nope.
Dodge Charger or like plug-in
Oh,
I8 Charger?
I assumed
don't
it was
know.
a Dodge Charger,
I
but the
would
Dodge
too.
Charger has been the same for like ever.
Yeah.
So the XC40 that Chidi was talking
Let's
about
see-
is
let's
just
check it
over
out. Let's
there.
check it
Yeah,
out.
we can check it out. We think we have time.
Swing around
So
here.
this is their new
wagon.
compact
Can we have a
crossover?
wagon? I want a wagon.
Wagons are good.
Wagon with a manual,
But
please.
this is really cool. It has the two-tone paint available, which I really love.
Well, that's like a 50s cue.
I love that. And this color too is especially very 1950s, but of course, has the very Scandinavian interior and such.
Beauty.
And it has the T5 setup, the twin charge.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you get that instant torque from the supercharger, and you can still have the top end pull, courtesy of the turbo.
It's actually one of my favorite powertrains.
It works amazingly well.
Yeah,
and
it's
and
so
like a big
smooth.
S90 too.
Yeah.
Sedan.
And they put it in all their cars, and it still manages to be really, really good.
Very
Let's
nice.
head over to the Mercedes booth, actually. They had a really big debut at this year's show. But if you so that's the AMG Project1, which isn't the one that debuted at this show, but this is their new hypercar.
Frankfurt, right?
Yeah, this debuted at the Frankfurt Auto Show. And it's their new hypercar,
I
1,000
find it hard to-
horsepower.
It doesn't excite me at all. I don't know
No,
why.
you know what? It's just nothing about the design is really that unique. I think my favorite part about it is actually that like fin in the back.
That's cool, and I like that they have an air scoop
yeah,
on top too.
that is the only thing that really gets me.
You can see the logo is like a sticker.
Yeah,
Really?
because that's F1 inspired. It's for
I don't
weight
care.
savings.
I don't care. It looks terrible.
All right, where did Ben go?
Ben
Oh, there he is.
Ben
Hi.
there he is. So what are we going to talk about? We've got the CLS, which looks
Yes.
like it's. Is it hidden
It's
over
just
there?
on the just on
follow
the stage
the North
over
Star,
there.
Jodi. The star will lead you.
As we walk over, people are asking what your favorite car is of the show, so think about that.
I will
Okay,
think
I will think about that. So this is the all-new CLS, and this is the car that basically invented the, quote, I'm doing air quotes, four-door coupe, which is an oxymoron because a coupe has two doors. But let's not get into that because I'm just going to get like annoyed. But
More
this,
annoyed than you already are with me.
yes. So this CLS is really important for a couple of reasons. Number one is that it has a completely new design. It's a radical departure from what it used to look like. So they've managed to keep the sloping roof line and the really good proportions, but everything else is completely new. This is an all-new third-generation model of this car, and
The front end looks like the RLX Sport hybrid.
So the design
Not
has been
so
a little bit
sure.
controversial. Like some people really like it, but it seems that most people aren't a fan. And so I haven't really decided if I love it or not.
I'm rather indifferent. It's fine.
Yeah, I
but-
mean, some people said that it looks cheaper than it used to. Like it just doesn't look as high end.
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
But
other.
maybe they spent their bucks under the hood because they got a
Yeah.
brand new engine under there.
So this powertrain is going to be so interesting. So this CLS brings back the inline six.
Let's see if we can open the hood. Maybe.
Yeah, try. And this is the first time they've used an inline six in like decades. So it's really exciting that they're bringing it back. This one is really unique because it has a system called EQ Boost. And what that means is that there's a 48 volts electric starter generator that provides extra boost when, stronger acceleration is needed. And so here it is.
There it is, a whole
Here's
bunch
the
of plastic.
Yeah.
Not much to see. Let's see if the hood has the service position that Mercedes models are rather famous for. Jodi, go ahead and push up on the hood. Your hands are free.
What?
Just push the hood up. Keep pushing. Okay,
That's
maybe
as far
it
as
doesn't.
it goes.
Okay, maybe you have to unlatch it here actually, but
Why?
they will open super wide. They'll open like vertically.
Oh, okay.
So it's very easy to get under there if you ever have to do any work.
So that inline six is a 3-liter turbo, and it has 362 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. And that interesting EQ boost system, for short bursts, it increases it up by 21 horsepower and 80-something pound-feet of torque.
Crazy.
Which is a ton of boost to have from an electric generator. Of course, there's going to be AMG models coming afterwards, which will be very exciting.
But this is not an 18. This is a 19. So we're getting. This is like the crystal ball we're looking at because this
Pretty
car isn't
much.
ready until late next year.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get it until the fall. And so.
It better be worth the wait.
Excuse me, yeah, so I think they put a lot of R&D dollars into this because a lot of what you see here will eventually make it over to future Mercedes models. The inline six is going to be more
I mean, that's
and more,
a huge investment right there to develop a new engine
just to bring that back.
family. Big bucks.
And the EQ boost is also going to make it to cars, and they're going to pair it to like 4-cylinder models and stuff like that. So they're going to start using it throughout the entire Mercedes lineup, which is pretty cool.
So we had somebody wanted to see the Audi display as well.
Sure,
I think
let's
that
go to Audi.
Audi is that way,
Okay,
next to Infiniti, but we can ramble around now.
Sure.
I guess.
Someone wanted to know if there was anything new from Porsche.
Any new Porsches? Good question. I don't think they had.
okay, so
I
here's
never
what they
made
had.
it over there. So.
So I went to Porsche a lot, and they didn't have any new debuts, but they had North American debuts, and what they brought here was the 911 Carrera T and the 718 GTS models of the Boxster and the Cayman. And so those are... What's going on here?
I'm not sure.
And so those
Ben
are
is gesturing.
more performance-oriented versions of already sporty cars. And so I really love that Porsche brought them here because, lately it's all been about hybrids and autonomous cars and electric cars.
Oh,
so
I'm so.
it's
I am
nice
so
that
sick of hearing about
well,
autonomous
I know, but
cars.
I was so happy that real sports cars with real performance still exist, and that made me really happy.
Audi should be just up here on the right, I believe.
Yeah.
But Cadillac is here. They didn't have anything to display, but they've got a kind of a cool booth. I like.
Yeah,
sort
their
of
booth always looks pretty cool.
that circular middle portion.
Um,
Favorite cars, though. I've picked mine.
what is it then?
It's not a car. It's the Wrangler.
Oh, okay. It's
Boom.
a
It's the
SUV.
star of the show. Come on. I mean, it's the biggest
Yeah.
reveal.
I'm
and,
really excited to drive it.
Yeah, it should be an absolute beast off-road. I mean, as it should. And what is this? Professional grade Sierra
So
here.
this is a really funny story. So I think last year, GMC Canada came out with something that suspiciously looked exactly like this. But you know, GMC US is claiming that this is the first time it's ever been seen. So it's basically
Some skullduggery
a
going
Sierra
on.
on tracks, and you know, it's good for mountains and skiers and snowboarders. You obviously can't buy it like this.
What? What do you mean?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes people don't get when things are concepts or not concepts, so I kind of have to clarify.
Hashtag like a pro.
Hashtag like a pro. Audi's that way. Let's go to Audi.
You had a question about GM autonomy, I think.
Okay, let me check it out. I don't.
They made an announcement today about it, I guess. That's
GM
news to
Autonomy
me.
did?
Yeah. I actually don't know what's going on with GM Autonomy.
But you did drive the CT6 Super
I
Cruise.
did. Ben points out I drove CT6 with Super Cruise on a 1,200-mile slog from, where did we start? We started in Memphis, Tennessee, overnighted in Dallas, and then drove out to Santa Fe, New Mexico. So
You loved it though, didn't you?
It was effing fantastic. Literally, for hours at a stretch, you can sit there with your arms crossed, not driving, because the car is steering, it's staying in its lane, it's accelerating, it's decelerating as necessary. Now, if you have to change lanes, you have to do that manually.
Do you have to, once you turn the signal on, will it change lanes for you? No?
They did.
So
They
the whole
deliberately
thing-
did not
okay.
do that. But really, with Super Cruise, they did 3 or 4 very important things. They've got a driver attention monitor. So it basically, you always have to be active and part of the process of driving. So it needs to know that you're looking ahead. If you glance down to change the radio station, you glance down to look at your phone to try to send a text, it knows. And if you're looking away for more than like 5 or 10 seconds, it starts to beep at you basically to let you know, hey, pay attention. They've also mapped every single mile. Let me say that again. Every single mile of divided, limited access highway in the US and Canada. It's like 210,000 miles, I think, all told. So they've got highly precise map data about all the roads where Super Cruise is allowed to be used because it's geo-fenced to those roads. You can't use this in a city. You can't use this on a country 2-lane. It's got to be on a highway with on and off ramps that's divided. And they did that because it's safer. I mean, obviously in a city you've got cross traffic, you've got pedestrians, and the system can't quite react to that. But you put it in its element on the highway, it works fantastically well. They've also added super accurate GPS down to less than 2 meters, so it can know which lane you're in even.
Cool.
These are the things that sort of bring it all together and make it work. Super good.
And I mean, that's kind of just showing us what autonomous cars are going to be like. It's not there yet, but this kind of lays the groundwork for
This is
that
a
very
huge
near
like
future.
first step, right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
It's probably the most sophisticated system of its sort right now, at least. Yeah.
And I mean, I was amazed because for hundreds of miles at a stretch, you can sit there with your arms crossed, not steering. You don't have to keep your hands on the wheel. You don't have to do anything else. As long as you're sort of looking ahead, and it knows where it is, you're good. But that being said, if there's inclement weather, it's obviously going to have a little bit of trouble if the lines on the road are obscured with snow or water. That's an issue. And sometimes when the sun is low, like if you're driving westward in the afternoon, the bright light can sort of obscure your face and the camera can't read it so well. So
Right.
it might give you a false positive there. But
So it's not perfect, but it's still
no,
really good.
but it's
Yeah.
very impressive.
Cool.
But we're at Audi, so
I know.
what am I?
And they're not too happy that we've been talking about Cadillac in their booth. So Audi didn't really have any new debuts
Is this
at
the new
this show.
A8?
Yeah, it is, but we've seen that before. We've
I have not actually
driven
even
it.
looked at
Oh
it
yeah.
yet. I want to see
It's
if
got
it's
a whole
open.
bunch of really cool technology. Like for example, it has this really trick suspension where it can, using sensors and cameras, look ahead. And if it sees that there's a speed bump, it'll kind of prepare the suspension for impact and kind of raise it up a little so you don't actually feel it, which is really cool.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Look at this character line on the side here. That is very cool.
This is a really
Look
good-looking
at that.
sedan, yeah.
Holy cow.
The other
And look
cool
at the way
thing-
the
oh my
shadow is.
gosh.
It's like,
The
wow.
other cool thing of or piece of technology that this has is anti-curbing technology,
Okay,
which
what's that
means
mean?
that it has a whole bunch of sensors that will prevent you from curbing the rim, which I think a lot of people will find really useful, especially for such a big car, right?
what do rims cost when you damage them?
From Audi, I
Yeah.
don't know, probably more
At least
than I can
$1,000
afford. Yeah.
for something that big. Crazy.
All
What does
right.
Ray says the A8 lifts up for side impacts as well, he thinks.
That's very true. Yep.
Jodi.
It can detect when a collision is about to happen, and it will raise up the body so that whatever hits you hits the car at its most strongest point. So that helps keep the passengers
Very
safe.
clever.
It's so smart.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is one of your favorites though, isn't it?
Oh, the RS5. Yeah. Pretty much anything RS, I'm a really big fan of.
RS7 murdered out.
Yeah,
sort
so
of.
I'm a little bit sad that they got rid of the bigger, badder engine in the RS5.
The V8 is no more.
The V8 is no more, but the twin turbo V6 is really good.
It gets the job done.
Yeah, it's very quick.
There's an RS3 and the S4.
Oh, guys, there's some
S4 is
Teslas here.
You want to go Tesla?
Yeah,
Shall we talk
let's-
about Tesla?
Yeah, let's go to Tesla.
Gullwing doors. Let's see if they have
Yeah.
a Model 3.
They do. It's over there. Yeah,
They really do.
It's
I'm
real,
amazed.
I know.
You can sit in it?
I'm pretty sure it was difficult for them to find one to spare because their
They can't actually
production-
build them, apparently.
Their production is so behind right now. Like they just keep hitting more and more problems, more and more issues. They just can't get their stuff together. So this is a Model 3. This is, Tesla's first mass market affordable model. It's supposed to cost about 35 grand. Unfortunately, they've had a lot of issues getting it to their customers. Deliveries have been crazy
Manufacturing
delayed.
woes
Yeah.
and, yeah, the
They
whole
fired a
nine
whole
yards.
bunch of people, labor issues. There's a ton of stuff going on at Tesla right now, and it's a little bit difficult for them.
And what did they take, like 400,000 pre-orders for $1,000 each?
Yep.
Something like that when the car was announced.
Yep.
And I imagine they're going to be refunding a lot of that money if people aren't getting their cars. Because, Toyota sells around 400,000 Camrys a year, right?
Yeah,
And they've been building
easily.
cars for how long? How much experience do they have making cars?
Yeah.
Now, to contrast that with Tesla, which is literally brand new in comparison, you can't ramp up that fast.
And I mean, it's really
mean,
ambitious. I can
it
appreciate
is.
what they're doing, but it's just.
Same with the Tesla Semi, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's
And
a
then
lot
they
of
just-
great ideas, but where are you gonna?
Well, and then they
where
just
is
came
it?
out with the Roadster, right? And they're making all these crazy claims of, 0 to 60 in, 1.9 seconds?
Like bruising your organs when you take
Yeah.
off. But it just seems to me like distraction, right? Like look over here, shiny.
What?
What? So, yeah, we got Jaguar. Did they reveal anything? No, I do not believe they did.
No, Land Rover did. They had a new autobiography version of one of their SUVs, which isn't that exciting.
Raul says panel gaps need improvement. I would agree.
They do.
The
This
Tesla
one,
Model 3.
this one, they actually all line up and are even. So I mean, that's something.
Building cars is hard. It's real hard.
It's real hard.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
About Genesis. Genesis is right there.
Yeah,
Let's see,
they don't really have anything new though. They were actually supposed to debut the G70 here, but Korea changed things around on them, and they had to pull the car, so it's not actually here. But if you have any last-minute questions, let
Yeah.
us know, because I think we're just about ready to kind of wrap it up.
That's really the gist of the show.
Yeah,
right?
I think those are all the coolest, most important debuts here.
Jodi, we never got your favorite car, did we?
I stole the good one. That's why
That's
I wanted to
really
get my
tough.
vote in early.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously the most important one. I actually really like the CLS, not because I think it's like an amazing, beautiful car, but I think the advancements they've made in like powertrain tech are going to be really, really
Yeah.
important going forward. And I can really appreciate that they did an entire radical redesign. Like, it's not too often you see a redesign that is that different from, you know, the generation that came before.
It's incremental usually.
Yeah, exactly.
They threw the baby out with the proverbial
Yeah.
bathwater.
Look at this little Subaru.
Oh, that's. I
I
think
love
this is
this.
Jody's favorite.
This-
the way, based on the smile she had when she saw it, this
This
has
might be
gotta
my
it.
favorite car here. This is just the cutest little Subaru.
Is it totes adorbs though?
Totes adorbs.
It's pretty small. Not sure if you're aware.
Have you seen a Honda booth here?
That's a good question. I don't even remember. I think they're
There's
on the
gotta
map.
be. Yeah, I just didn't see their booth, but
Hold
maybe.
my phone, please. My phone.
Thank you for clarifying.
Let's look on the map.
All right, I'm seeing if we have any questions here.
Jody, do we have Honda? We have Acura in the South Hall, which is where we are. Honda's in the West Hall.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we walked right
Because then my
past them.
favorite car would be the Urban EV or the sports EV concepts.
Those were cool.
And those came out in Tokyo and in Frankfurt, and I love those. I wish they would make them. So I guess here's your phone back.
Thank you,
So
Jodes.
I guess that wraps up our live broadcast
I'm
of the
just
LA
looking.
Auto Show.
I don't see any more burning questions.
No. I think we're good to go, but thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave your questions in the comments and we'll try to come back and answer a couple of them. Other than that, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in Detroit.
That's LA. But brace for the cold, frozen tundra of January in Detroit.
Yeah, so we'll be in
Bring
your
a parka.
hometown. I
Bring a
will.
parka.
I'm going to be driving down from Toronto, and I'm sure there's going to be a snowstorm, because there always is.
every year, right?
Yeah,
I
every
mean-
year. But cool.
Well, that's it. So, goodbye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
Jody, tell him to subscribe.
Craig and his jokes.